It's Thursday night, 8 p.m., and you're tuned to Everything I Touch, I Destroy. We're here tonight with Bonnie and Colby, and we're going to speak to them about what's going on. To kick things off, we're going to watch a video from our homie Baggage Claim down in South Carolina.
Mom will see if we collect enough rainwater over the span of the next 2 weeks so we'll be able to make our own Mountain Dews. Baggage Claim. I hung out mostly in Columbia, South Carolina with a homie Adam, and he's a sweet freak, and he's always delivered the goods, as one Rob Halford would say. So I was psyched to see that he had some new content up on his page on YouTube. Go check out his other videos, they're equally as insane and disturbing. I don't often speak on personal matters when I do this program, and tonight will be no exception. We're welcoming to the show our friend Bonnie. Everybody say hi to Bonnie.
Hey man, what's happening?
Chilling, having a good time. I wonder why. Stand by, we got a technical glitch. And here's Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hey.
What's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. So the first question I wanted to ask you was if you've ever had experience with the paranormal or with the UFO.
Definitely. I've had tons of experiences with the paranormal, But my first experience was when I was like 5, and I was in a backyard um, with my parents at their friend's house, and their friends were shooting off fireworks, and a firework like shot up into the air and hit a tree, and then it was like coming right at me. But I saw it coming, but I was absolutely frozen, and my parents, everybody was far away from me, and then just like this something just like forced my feet out from underneath me, and I was just like laid down on the ground, and the firework went like right over me. That was pretty physical. I mean, I haven't ever experienced anything that physical as far as besides that one.
Did you feel like you would have been done for if it come into contact with the firework?
I don't know. It wouldn't have been nice, you know. It was a sizable firework.
Looking back, do you feel like that was a significant turning point that could have went a different way altogether?
It opened my mind to things other than what I could see.
What about UFOs?
I see all these things in the sky in Troy. These like little dots, and they're just doing odd things. But I don't know if it's a UFO. I'm not sure.
What's the night sky like up in Troy?
Depends on the weather, but it's usually incredible. It's nice and dark there. Really good, really good sky watching. There's like the Milky Way kind of crosses over the house in this incredible way. When I used to work in Belfast, which it's like just Belfast, Maine, it's not very well lit, but when I would get to Troy, it would feel so extremely different. And I would get out at night and just like see all these stars, and it just always made me feel very, very happy. And just like it's so quiet there. I mean, you've been there, it's just like it's there's not many cars going by, and not many sounds except for animals at night.
So I've been kind of like obstinately avoiding the sort of interview format for this program. Yeah. We're almost halfway through the second season. But the recent passing of Tom Smith, who's a gentleman I didn't know personally, has affected me in ways that I didn't anticipate. And one of them was kind of taking more seriously the opportunity to make some sort of document about just personalities. And so tonight, Bon, this is going to be a first and sort of experimental approach to these conversations. And I'm actually going to interview you.
That's awesome.
Cool. So we're going to go back to what I remember where I entered the story, which was when you were on Baltimore Avenue in Philadelphia. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Am I mistaken? Yeah. What were you
I was living at
to?
Kiara's. What's that?
Yeah, what were you up to?
Living at Kiara's?
Yeah.
It was just, I was doing the band Canopy. I don't know if you were... Canopy happened while I was living there. Kiara and I would play music together. The Canopy was really fun.
It was a two-piece?
It was really fun. Yeah, remember Jake Anna died?
Oh, yeah.
And I would just play drums, and he would play guitar. And he is like so open. He was just like, yeah, if like a good guitar player can just follow whatever you want to do, to just do whatever you want to do. I didn't even have drums. We borrowed somebody who lived at that warehouse in Philly. We borrowed his drums every time we played a show, and but I loved it. It was super great.
What was it that drew you to Philadelphia?
I went to school outside of Philly, and then I got kind of into living there. I got into the area and the city itself. It seemed fun. And then one of my friends from school was moving to the city, into West Philly. So I moved with him there, and it was awesome. The first, actually, like, you know, I didn't know anything about like the scene at that time, and I was just like in my bedroom. I lived on Larchmont, and there was like a park that was really close to me, and I heard weird music, and or just yeah, just like this music that it was really cacophonous, and I had to go and see what it was, and it was Friends Forever, and they were just like playing there, and I was absolutely blown away because I was in a band when I was in college, and it was like I love that band. It was called Jenny, and it was really fun. I played bass, but then seeing that like really was really exciting and really opened up so many things. Uh, and then that's kind of, I think that's like one of the first times that I saw uh, like Rob and Kiara were there, and then they just like Kiara just like called me up one time and was just like, "Oh, we're gonna go to go and see this like jazz show at the Khyber." And I was like, "Oh, you know, I don't want to go. I'm like busy." She's like, "We're gonna be there in like 10 minutes. You just have to be ready. We're just gonna be there." And so, you know, that's how I just started like hanging out with everybody, and it was just, I don't know, it ruled. It's like pretty like sweet and serendipitous.
So you literally heard shockwaves coming through the window, and you
Yeah.
decided to go investigate,
hmm
and you happened to run
It was like
across
calling me, you know?
Friends Forever. For the under 30 crowd, was a duo from Denver, Colorado, of all places, where the homies would perform inside um, a little bus that they had, a van, and they would play noise rock that was uh, entire albums based on futuristic, non-existent fantasy sports that they invented, and their showmanship was unrivaled. Their energy was stratospheric, and you know, every show that they did on the East Coast definitely changed the lives of whoever was lucky enough to come across them. So, hail Friends Forever.
Definitely.
So, wow, you started hanging out, and then did you start jamming with Kiara or Rob at all, or just with Jake for the time being?
I jammed with Kiara, but I think we played like one or two shows, but just at the house. Our band was called Skull Fucking. That was pretty fun. Or just
Outside
get
of
like really bloody.
oh yeah, outside of music, were there any other like compelling activities or ceremonies or anything that you stumbled upon
Um,
down there at the time?
I was taking, I went to school for sociology, but when I was in Philly, I started taking classes at more like sewing classes because I'd already been sewing forever, but I started to try to like hone it, you know, and I got an apprenticeship working for a costume designer. Um, and that was the other thing that I was doing. That was like really, uh, just sewing. Yeah. And just like making things, always wanted to make things, you know? And I was like, you know, I met Crystal Stokowski, and she was like such a prolific sewer. She would just be like always like, you know, making some kind of wild wallet or shirt or, you know, just anything. She just like, she was really inspiring, definitely. Actually, I think the first time I met you was at her house. You played a show. And I thought, yeah, I liked your set. It was really good.
Do you,
I bought your box set that night.
oh yeah, the very first one.
Hmm.
Do you think that you could sort of sketch out a little narrative about, was there anything fascinating about the person that you apprenticed under? Is there like any kind of story there that you could recall?
It was just like through a mutual friend.
Were the clothes interesting to you in any particular way, or was it simply just to get skills together?
It wasn't anything fantastical. It was like really, it was for dance theater. And so it'd be like sewing like hook and eyes on stuff. And she did show me how to make like cool ruffles, which I liked a lot. You know, we were doing these like lots of ruffles, but it wasn't amazing. I really, really liked working with the next, once I moved to Maine, the next apprenticeship that I had, because we were doing couture clothes. And so we would go and do like full on like trunk shows, and then people would order stuff, and we would make a muslin and do a fitting, and then the whole thing. I mean, it was like absolutely unbelievable what we would do, and how, you know, the way that he would touch fabric, the way that he would hold it, you know, it was just so, it's so natural. And he was the one, he was like really like the turning point for me with sewing.
I think of the time between when you were living in Philadelphia and when you moved to Maine as being a long time, like a huge gap. But how many years actually did it take for you guys to land there?
It was pretty quick. Like, I met Chris in like 2005, and we moved to Maine in 2006. So I was only in Philly for a couple of years, you know, or like maybe 3.
Yeah. And then between finding your place, you guys were living in a bus?
I didn't live in a bus. They had, Mating Dance had the bus.
That was before you hooked up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
I see.
helped put that bus to rest, but I never lived on that bus.
Oh, I see. So yeah, so if you wouldn't mind, could you illustrate the arc of how that all turned out?
Of moving to Maine?
Yeah. Is it just a direct line? Like you left Philadelphia and you got on 95 and then ended up in Maine?
Yeah. We moved with Perna and Stefan to this place in West Gardner, and it was really fun. It was like one of those houses that has a garage on the first floor, and so we were just like played so much music, and it was just like a really it was incredible, but it was also really boring, you know, like I was used to like living, like it wasn't like really boring, but there wasn't like yes, we played like tons of music and like had like this like really great like social everything was there, but there was nothing outside of it. You know, it wasn't like there was like when you're you know, when I lived in Philly, like it was like there was always like a show. I wouldn't go to them, but I could go to them if I wanted to, you know, like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like that whole like thing where there's the option was there to do something should you want to do something.
Yeah, no doubt. So, how was that? Did that result in just being able to focus on what you guys were doing instead to a kind of exaggerated degree?
Yeah, it was incredible. We just got to play a lot of music, and that was really fun. It was really fun to live with those guys. Um, and then Dan and Amy lived with us for a while because Perna and Stefan went to go and do Cranberries, so that was fun. And then it was like a year. I don't know. It wasn't that much later after. Well, we got our house in 2009, right? So there's like we moved to Maine in 2006, got our house in 2009. So we lived in like a couple places. Taboo was like created within that time at Stefan's parents' camp, and that just like became that was a lot, you know. It was just like every Saturday, that's what we would do, um, and just having like wheels, just having our own house where we could just host like whatever we wanted and not like worry about anything, um, about getting in trouble, you know.
Yeah. Before we jump in to Taboo, I had a question, but I also wanted to address the viewers. If you guys want to interact with Bonnie, you can get in the YouTube chats on the YouTube website and ask a question or say hello. Also, if you want to join the show, that's a possibility, and I'm going to let you know how to do that, I guess, if you want to. I don't have my phone with me, so if you text me, I should go grab my phone, actually. If you text me a question for Bonnie, then I'll be able to relay it to her. Bonnie, you're steering the ship, you're on your own, and I think this is going to last a good 30 seconds. So
Okay.
it's just going to be you and the audience. This is going to be a first time for the show, and I'm psyched to just maybe rewatch the show later and see what you do.
Okay.
All right. Be right back.
Cool. Today's an interesting day because it's it would be my dad's birthday, and my dad was like this most imperative to my going towards fashion, going towards design person in my life. And when Jeremy called or texted to see if I wanted to be on the show, I just didn't even put it together that it was today, that it was February 10th. So I thought that was really, like, I was reminded today by my aunt that it was his birthday. So I just think that's pretty cool.
All right, every device is accounted for, folks. Hope you enjoyed Bonnie's solo segment. Marilee says she loves your sweater, Bon.
Who says that?
Marilee.
Oh, hi, Marilee.
And we got some Philadelphia love as well. So I had a question that was kind of annoying and geeky. But I was thinking about fashion and clothing and making clothing and working a job like you were describing. And I was thinking about it in terms of like
music and alternative music and music for the sake of expression with no commercial viability, and the different values and the different aesthetics that tend to get championed or adopted by the practitioners of that kind of music. And I was wondering if in your experience there was an analog in the fashion world, and if you were drawn towards that at all, or if conversely in the fashion world you don't want to exist in an alternative realm and would prefer to be able to make expertly constructed garments that are maybe steeped in tradition.
You know, it's you're talking about like are you talking about like the kind of clothes that that we would see like or you know like are you talking about like performance clothes or just like noise scene clothes like noise haircuts?
Yeah, like a dichotomy between like noise clothes and couture.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that was like so cool about noise clothes is that they were created by the individual. You know, it's like people expressing themselves without much money, you know, just like it was so steeped in creativity. Also like the patina of the clothes because you're wearing the clothes all the time, you know, like if you're on tour, you only have so much, you know, it's just like it's like a lucky shirt or you know when you change, you know that feeling when you change, you're like, I have like this unfamiliar garment on. You know, I wouldn't want to try to create something like that. I'm really interested in creating things, just like you said, that are like expertly crafted, and more for an individual. I am doing ready to wear stuff for a store in Belfast, and that's really fun. Like working with somebody else and figuring out like what they want and being able to do that, figuring out how to do that. I really enjoy that.
You're currently
I don't know
doing
if
that.
that answered your question exactly, but
Yeah, it did. Perfectly,
okay.
actually. It's like precisely what I was looking for. Yeah,
Did you expect
because,
that answer?
well, it's like a 50-50 thing. So it could have gone both ways. But I feel like you did answer it perfectly. Because it made me laugh inwardly to think of like commercially distressed, like shabby chic noise clothes
Totally.
available for sale.
I know.
Is a joke, obviously. Although there's definitely a market for it somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Like distressed jeans. You're just like,
But then the aesthetics of
yeah.
distress, like in music, is something that's like aesthetically, you know, exploited by artists all the time. I feel like.
I
I
can
tried
see
to
that.
talk about this in the past. Yeah, whatever, Lance. Fuck you. I tried to talk about this in the past too, about like lo-fi. Like when people have the choice, like it's like everybody has the same. Everyone has the same tools now, so there's almost
Mm-hmm.
no excuse to make something sound bad because like everyone's making music with a computer. So
You mean like recording it?
yeah, composing
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
It's like lo-fi used to be a result of just having technically crappy equipment, but now it's like an aesthetic choice. And I was speaking to another musician who was like very depressed, and I wanted to try to get into the meat of why or if they made their music sound a certain way to express that like desolation, like emotional desolation.
Oh yeah.
But
Kind of like a
the question
loneliness.
totally missed the mark. I think it wasn't. But that does open up a potentially interesting avenue of conversation and as it may, like relate to Taboo and Taboo's journey through fidelity over the years. One of my favorite Taboo memories was very early on a show at Mars Gas, and y'all were just clanging away at full volume, and there was a handful of mutated freaks in the audience. I think it was the Lazy Magnet return show or something from
Oh
when
yeah, I
we were
remember that show.
a metal 3-piece.
I think you had like a microphone duct taped to a neck brace
Yeah.
as like your mic stand. Yeah, I really liked that.
And I remember watching y'all play, and it was so fucking loud. And then I just perchance to look over to my left, and I noticed there was just like a guitar amp up on a cabinet, like a filing cabinet, like tall, And then there was a microphone plugged into it, just like pointed directly at it, at like full fucking volume, like wailing, screeching feedback incessantly without any frequency variation at all, just like one shrieking tone during the whole set. And you guys were so loud, it was like I didn't even notice it at first. And I was watching, I was like thinking about like walking into a room if that was the only thing happening, and how outrageous that would be. But then it was just like basically so loud and so insane sounding, but covered by just like the total fucking sonic onslaught of Taboo going for it, full tilt. And I still think about that shit to this day, because it's just like context made it so that like, a good handful of people were just grooving to that. It's like fucking insane. But anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm good. Yeah, so to go back, I would like to just touch on like your personal perspective on like what your band struggled with over the years. Infidelity, I mean not infidelity, but in terms of fidelity and in terms of gear, microphones, what you wanted to accomplish, what you were struggling against, like stuff like that. If we could try to crack open that. Man, that's the most talking I've done on the show.
PAs were always a problem. Like, we had some PA problems on tours before, and then so that I remember one time we bought this PA at like a what is it, like a like some kind of, I forget what kind of store it's called, like a junk shop of sorts, but like in Philly, and we were so psyched. We got these speakers, like just like, and we went to Baltimore and we played at the Bank that night, and we were touring with Ancestral Diet, and then they blew like immediately. Like I think within like the first, like we just like didn't even get that to like, there was like some wires missing, so that was just like there was, I don't remember exactly what was happening, but it was just like absolutely just destroyed us, So we had to get some other speakers. But as far as live was concerned, I think like having a good PA was like so important. And then like also trying to not like lend people stuff who were using like, Chris had like really beautiful amps and stuff, like not trying to lend these beautiful amps to like people using playing instruments that are questionable in their like structural fidelity. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To like blow that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, equipment's always so important. I was like so not wanting to spend money to get drums, and then Chris like took me to the store and was like, these drums are on sale and you should buy these drums. And I did. And I was just like, this is so much money. I can't even believe it. But you'll never regret it. You will never regret having the right equipment. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you'll just, you know, get the right equipment.
Yeah, money is like water. Was there a turning point with the band where you turned away as a group from maximum volume at all times to a more nuanced approach in your songwriting? Was that a conscious evolution?
I think that it just had to do with better riffs, you know, more detailed, not as like just like not having to like have that, or you know, just making more beautiful music. I mean, beauty is so subjective, but you know, I think that really did something. Does that, you know, just where you don't want it to be blown out, you don't want it to just be you don't want everything to just be like a lost in like a muddy, like, you know, melee of feedback.
Yeah. With no control over the volume or the dynamics.
Yeah. And it's always like so hard. It was always so hard to hear on stage, hear everything. We never got monitors, but it would be cool when we play at shows that like had monitors. I always enjoyed that.
Because you guys would tour all the time.
I mean, we were not like road dogs. We'd like go play a lot in Providence because it was close. Providence is like so good to us. It was like such an amazing town. It was so much fun. We always loved going there. You know, so you could do like Providence in New York. There was like a while where we didn't go to Boston. I don't know what's going on with Boston now, but you know how just like scenes come and go. So there was just like sometimes you don't know the new people who are setting up shows. And actually, I think our last show ever was at Franklin Street, and like nobody was there.
Yeah.
Keith Waters said
Keith Waters.
He just didn't tell anybody that we were playing.
Yeah.
So we did karaoke and like just like drank. It was fun.
Are you doing a project that's outward facing these days, like something that's intended to be shared with your peers?
Musically?
Anything.
Musically, I've just been jamming drums and really thinking about them differently. And then sewing is I don't have anything like there's a lot of things that I'm doing right now, but nothing that is like just for me or like just be put out by me. It's mostly collaborations.
With Mainers?
Yeah.
You know, this is a funny question, but it's coming from a sincere place because like I've sat down at your drums over the years and I've tried to play them and they're set up and they have a sound that's very distinct, and I was unable to get a good sound out of it, but like I've seen you deliver like impossibly heavy grooves out of that stuff, and I wanted to ask you like the most basic question is just like, what is your inspiration when it comes to drumming?
Um, Possession. You just want to be kind of taken over. Uh, and to be, yeah, that's it. Like just being taken over and like working with the song and working with the spirit of music and of of rhythm.
With clothing and fabric, do you get into the same place sometimes?
Yeah, especially reworking stuff, reworking old garments is really interesting. People bring me things that need to be like a coat that needs to be relined or something like that, and just like breathing this new air into it, seeing, because I'm taking it apart, so seeing how somebody else put it together, seeing all the loose ends, all of the weird things that like I wouldn't normally let fly if I was sewing, but it looks perfect when you see the garment like um, not like all together. There's
You're
something. What's that?
no, go on.
There's just something so so amazing about that, about seeing somebody else's work and working with that. Um, Also, just clothing, the way that it will be like a pair of pants will have like, somebody wore them all the time, so the knees or have imprints in them, or coats, the elbows, or just these imprints of people of the past. You see that at thrift stores, and um, it's it carries those people with them, and that's incredible.
Is while you're in the throes of handling the material, is your impulse to improvise along the lines, or do you get jazzed by thinking about just restoring it to the original designer's intentions?
Honestly, like improv just doesn't um, it doesn't come out as well for that, because especially if I'm doing it for a client, it's like they are bringing me this to have to have it restored to how it was, and it can be in different colors. There's like a couple of things, like a couple of like places where I can express something different, but it has to be similar to that. And um, if I don't make a pattern, or if I don't follow it correctly, it typically doesn't come out right, and it's just a waste of time. I mean, I hate to say a waste of time. I think that like every time I sew, I get better. Like I'm really into that. I'm really into just like being able to just get really good. Really, really, really good.
So there is definitely a right and wrong way.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, because I've seen people who can work that way, who can just kind of improvise and just like make something that is um, that just looks great. I mean, that's the bottom line, is like, how does it look on?
Yeah.
But and it can look good. It's like, because like if it's like doing the right thing on your body, and like and highlighting the right parts, and just making you feel hot, then you nailed it. It doesn't. I get like caught up in this, like, what are the seams like? What is like the like all these like details that when I look at like a garment that's well made, I get really excited about things just done with care and attention, as opposed to just like surge scenes, which like I'll surge a scene sometimes, but like it's just, I love it. I love when something takes a really, really long time, and it's done with an immense attention to detail, and a high standard.
And really, there is a direct analog to the way that you've made music in your life, to the what you're describing. Because the music that you made wasn't just a wild free for all. It was actually meticulously planned out, worked over, and then presented in a totally coherent and sober fashion.
Thank you.
Well, do you feel like telling me some more about the collaborations you've been doing?
No, I'm gonna like keep quiet about
Yeah.
those. I mean, I really, I'm just excited about them. I'm excited about doing them. I'm excited about working with people. I like collaborations. I like working with people as opposed to just solo style.
Yeah.
So,
I feel the exact opposite way.
you just got to know what works for you,
Yeah, you figure it out quick, I think.
Oh, certainly.
What feels good. We got a question from a viewer. Do you, Bonnie, have a favorite designer? Or do you have a favorite era of clothing design?
It's constantly changing. Like I just watched this movie about Guo called Yellow is Forbidden, and she's this insane designer who has been designing for like over 20 years in China. And her garments take like 2 years to make, and she's just has like all these people doing embroidery and just over the top. Like I really enjoy that, but like I'm never gonna wear a garment like that. I'm never gonna spend like $1 million on a dress. It's just not gonna happen. So I could appreciate that for the art of it, but I really yeah, I was really inspired by her. I've just seen so much, and I've seen it so many times. I actually really do love clothes that are made by hand, like early clothes that are made by hand. When people were just like making them in their house and just making their own clothes. I think that I love. I like if I'm at a thrift store and I see something that's made by hand, I'll typically have to buy it because it's just so cool. Even if it's not that pretty.
Is that a thing that that you do find from time to time up in Maine?
Yeah, but I mean, just think about like a hand knit sweater, or like, some kind of something made in the 80s. Like not even that long ago, but it's just made by hand, and it was made. Yeah, just leave it at that.
Would you mind if I told a brief aside?
Please.
It's a tale of nostalgic longing. As a teen, hello, Dougie. I went to Daddy's Junkie Music in Boston when I was a child, or a teenager, whatever. And I bought one of those drum kits that don't even have shells. They're actually just rototoms, but they can fold up into a little bag.
Uh-huh.
And I brought it home, and I was delighted to find that the previous owner had created a sort of science fiction future sphinx image
So it's like a, a sphinx with spaceships kind of thing. And it was made all out of meticulously cut out and placed different color electrical tape.
Oh yeah, electrical tape's so fun. That's awesome.
And my fucking mind was blown.
Do you
And
still have it?
No. Unfortunately, back in the day, things were just so chaotic.
Oh, I know.
Materials would just run through my hands like water.
Yeah.
I'm taking up so much personal time tonight. I feel bad. But I did want to
I
shout
think
out
it's good.
Daddy's Junkie Music.
Is that the one
shit
that's
was
like
cool.
by the music school?
Yeah,
Was that?
it was. I don't know if it still is.
I've been to that one. I love that one. It's really cool. Yeah. Do
Yeah.
they even exist anymore?
I couldn't tell you. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of really nice weird stuff in their little trash basement. And they had a
Mm-hmm.
giant Elvis Presley face, like statue, which is crazy. I don't know if you remember. Back in the 90s.
No.
So many so much PV equipment just is so readily available. We're rounding out the first hour of the program. Bond, do you want to give a shout out to anyone or anything in particular before I cut you loose back in the wilds of New York State?
No. I'm psyched to be on the show. Thanks for having me. I did want to say that I was thinking about like power garments, and Chrissy and Jung did a collaboration because she has the company Namu Future, and they made a shirt. She dyed it so beautifully, and then it was printed with with the design that Chrissy had made, and he had done a Namu inception chart, and then he had written this this formula from the PGM that was sort of like a good luck for everybody like formula. There wasn't anything. There was nothing bad in it, and so it's like this like sort of a power garment, a good luck shirt, and I was wearing it. The first time I was wearing it, like you texted me and asked me if I wanted to be on the show, and I thought that was kind of like this interesting good luck like shirt kind of thing to happen.
Good luck for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody wins.
Exactly.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Bon.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I'm in the process of trying to purchase a house, and if I do, then we're gonna have lots of parties.
I can't wait.
And I'll have y'all down for the housewarming party, the very first kickoff.
We will be there.
But I'm sober now, so I don't know if I'm gonna be any fun to hang out with, but we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, have a wonderful rest of your night.
You too.
Thanks so much.
I'll be watching you and Colby. Thanks so much, man.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Folks, I did not have a transition planned between myself and Bond's interview and Colby. So instead, we're going to shoehorn in this week's acoustic corner. And that's going to be from Allison Callery. Please enjoy.
Hi, this is Allison Callery. I'm in Bristol, Rhode Island for Acoustic Corner. Thank you for having me, Jeremy.
Folks, if you want to be on Acoustic Corner, hit me up. I think I'm out of Acoustic Corner videos. That was Allison Calorie. She's from Bristol, Rhode Island. She's got an excellent album on Bandcamp called Ghost Folk. Shout out to the Ghost Folk enthusiasts of Rhode Island. We are halfway through the episode of this year, of this season, season 2. Next week we've got Sam Morale and Colin Langinus, some folks I met in Boston in the 90s. Sam is a bass player. Colin is a guitar player. Looking forward to speaking with them. We're going to kick things off with Colby. And he's going to show a video and play a song. So let's get him on the show. Let's get him on the show. All right, Colby.
Hey,
What's up, Colby?
hey. Hi there.
Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you. And great to see Bonnie, too. That was a wonderful interview.
Yeah, it really was. Great to talk to her.
Made me miss seeing some great shows. Okay, here.
You know, I
Wow.
was tripping balls when I watched your set at Bobfest last summer. But I'm happy to report that straight as an arrow here as I sit watching that video work that you just presented put me in the exact same frame of mind. And I want to say that it's new. I want to say that it's a new feeling. So I'm really, really pumped that there's
Awesome.
a consistency in the effect that it's had on me from one piece to the next, even in a state of extreme inebriation and extreme sobriety. So fuck, man. Please accept that in lieu of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Definitely.
Yeah, fuck. So are you in Portland, Maine right now?
South Portland. South Portland. Yeah, over the bridge.
In a home that you own?
Yep, reporting from Ferry Village. Yeah.
How's your winter been, Colby?
Well, it's kind of been like you just saw over here on the bed. A lot of just like lying around here, you know. That's why I did this little part. It's kind of what I've been up to lately. Which, you know, I do think that um, rest is greatly undervalued, and I needed it. I had been working a lot, and you know I needed the break. So
I wasn't at work today, but I did roofing for the first time in my life for a good solid 8 hours.
So you were doing that yourself, ripping things off today? You're up on
Yeah,
the roof?
with a crew. But yeah, tell me more about maybe not the kind of work you've been doing in the wintertime, but tell me more about your campfire sing-along gig, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. I've been for 12 years now. I've been working at this hotel in Kennebunkport, Maine, called the Nonantum Resort, and there used to be a guy. I've worked there now. When I go back this year, it'll be 15 years. They're really kind to me and really consider me as a human and make a lot of room for me to try to pursue the other creative pursuits that I enjoy, give me meaning. But I've been I started out there as a bellman, you know, carrying people's bags, and I still do that now and then when they need me to. But every Wednesday, the job was to set up a campfire for this guy, Don Wessels, who would come in and do cover songs. And every once in a while, he'd hand me the guitar so he could run off to the bathroom or something, you know. And then eventually, he didn't want to do it anymore, I guess, and the job got handed over to me. And it ended up going from one night a week to 3 nights to 4 nights to 5 nights. Now I'm back down to 4 nights, I think, for this upcoming season. But I've been doing it for so long, I've seen little kids grow up. I sit there and take requests. When I started doing it, I only knew a very small handful of songs that I could do. And probably disappointed a lot of people. And then over the years, my policy has just been to try to do what people ask for. So if a kid asks for some crazy song like Marshmallow or something, I'll go home and listen to it and print off the chords and then just go for it the next night. And that's kind of become a real interesting way of connecting with people and shifting the way I think about music, because I feel like traditionally I've had very pretentious views in music. So making kids happy with whatever they choose, all these crazy songs, has really affected my the way I think about music.
You feel like the tendrils of those experiences have wormed their way into your personal life, your personal expression.
Yeah, definitely. I've tried to write songs where I was like, could I play this at campfire night? Because every once in a while it'll come up that I write songs and people will be like, oh, play a song. And for years it was like completely blank expression at the end of the song. And now I have a couple that are kind of, people can kind of understand them.
I knew you sort of peripherally for a couple years as a Boston guy in my mind. But that's probably not even accurate. Until I was chilling with our mutual buddy Joseph at Christopher's old house, and we were getting drunk, and he put on the Dimples album, and he said, "This is Colby." And we listened to it, and I was like, "Holy shit. This is some fucking good music." And I had no fucking clue that that's the vibe that you go for. So you're telling me that the new Dimple stuff is more kid-friendly?
Oh, has it sunk in that much? No. You know, think that the Dimples stuff is kid friendly enough, you know? Like I wouldn't say that a kid couldn't listen to it. I just think it's too slow. Kids like a lot of up tempo stuff, but you find the right kid, they might like it.
Yeah,
There's
they'll
some
be
songs that are kid, they're poppy.
mesmerized, the children.
It's all the X-rated stuff is pretty like subtle, you know.
Yeah, I would say. We got a question from Philadelphia. What is the weirdest jam a kid ever asked for?
The weirdest jam a kid ever asked for. You know, the hardest one, the one that I could never do, I never got it, even though I love Spanish, the Spanish language, was the year Despacito was the song of the summer. I got that, like every night, and I could not do it. Like, I couldn't rap in Spanish and play guitar. And, but that's not the weirdest. I don't, it's really hard for me to think of the weirdest because there's such a range. Like, I get like everything, and I try to incorporate as much as people. There are certain ones that I intentionally kind of forget. Like, somehow I've never really played a Pearl Jam song, like I've tried, it just hasn't worked. But one of the weirdest ones, or the one this year, I guess, to shift the question, this year multiple people asked me for Bohemian Rhapsody, and I tried it twice. The first time I forgot to put the capo, or I put the capo on, but I've been practicing it by practicing. I like just play through the chords once if I find the time. Summer is so crazy. So I just go in blind, most of the time. So the chords can be bad sometimes, but I did Bohemian Rhapsody once with the capo and I couldn't do it. I bombed so hard. I was actually embarrassed. Like, usually I'm not embarrassed because I've got like a no shame policy over there. And I feel like that freedom, not being embarrassed, gets kids and people to sing. Like, it gets people to like break down their barriers and sing out, when maybe they wouldn't, because I'm allowed to I allow it that I embarrass myself pretty constantly. But I tried Bohemian Rhapsody a second time and I bombed even worse than the first time, and I was like, okay, this is my first like no play song. Like, I'm not gonna try it again. I'm just gonna be honest with the kids about how I can't do it. It doesn't sound good. So.
Well, cheer up. It's time to sound good. Why don't you go ahead and play us a song?
All right. Okay, let's try it. I'm gonna take these headphones off. Okay. Oh, I really gotta take these off. These things are too tight. strawberry sugar water, all mixed up, boiled down to syrup. In the passage of time, clouds that won't keep their form, the entire sky reborn by the passage of time. Some truth tends to get lost in translation or just because of the passage of time. Someone's healed, some just scared to be picked up by restless hands. Yes, you gotta understand, there's no reason the passage of time. There's no reason the passage of time. Open up, you may get burned, but keep shut, never even get a turn before the passage of time. Sure goes quick, said again, again and again, but it's long gone by then. The passage of time. To be cherished or just get missed, curse or blessing, let anyone's guess with the passage of time. I don't like to say it so, but you won't even notice as the changes show. No choice but to just let it go. No ease in the passage of time. There's no ease on the passage of time. There's no ease on the passage of time. Recalling the past like forming clouds of dreams, picked and chosen, so it seems, by the passage of time. All life's memories mixed them up, boiled down to syrup. All right.
You know, it's no secret that I'm kind of a jerk, and one of the things that I hate is the Grateful Dead. And I want to congratulate you on accomplishing the seemingly impossible. Because I think your music, if I'm not mistaken, is the most Grateful Dead adjacent music that I truly love.
Wow. Thank you.
What do you think? Do you think I'm off the mark by saying that it's Grateful Dead adjacent?
I mean, I can hear it. I'm not like I never went down that road.
Cool. I feel
But
better then, actually.
I never went down that road. But there are some songs, you know, like that song "Ripple" is beautiful, and I would play that at campfire night for a coworker who we lost last summer. A guy who worked in the kitchen for a long time, and when I would do overnights, would always make me breakfast. And yeah, every time I play that song, I would think about him, and it really moves me. So I know there's something to that music, is all I'm trying to say. I just haven't found it in a lot of places yet.
Same. So, dude, I actually don't know shit about New England Patriots. Would you please school me on that subject?
Well, that was that brief period of time that I did live in Boston. That's what I was really doing. I had this band called Hyena, which is the drummer of Patriots, and then the other half of Dimples. And then kind of that band sort of split, and we started doing Patriots with this guy Luke. So Luke Einsiedler, Dylan Kumnick. Luke Einsiedler's the guitarist, Dylan Kumnick's the drummer. Really old friends of mine. Like Dylan and I did some like local theater plays when we were like 8, 9 years old together. And Dylan and Luke had punk bands together from being tweens or whatever. They were playing music forever. So when we were all living in Boston together, we started doing New England Patriots, and it was a good release. It was the first time I like put down the guitar and just did the frontman thing, and it's fun, you know. It's a total cathartic release. I was full of angst when we started that band, so that's how I really expelled most of it.
So Dimples was gigging around town, doing the DIY thing at the time?
Dimples, no. Dimples, so the guy Greg Hartoonian, the other half of Dimples, and he does all the paintings for the albums. He lives out in Los Angeles, or in the Valley, actually. Well, now he's kind of bouncing around. He's from out there, and I met him when I was in school in New York at SUNY Purchase. And we did the band Hyena together and did some tours, and then he moved back home after school, and I still go out there quite a bit. I grew up going out to the Los Angeles area because my dad and all my siblings are there. So I grew up here in Maine with my mom and in Kennebunk, but my whole life I would, from age 9, started going out to visit my family on the West Coast. So then after school, when Greg was there, I kind of had 2 reasons to go out there, and we started. One time I was visiting family and visiting him, and he was like, oh, let's just record an album. And that's how we did the first Dimples record, just playing around.
Oh, I see.
We just make it all up and then chop it up together in the studio.
What is, which of the 2 regions do you identify with more personally, if there is
Well,
one?
I never left Maine, so, I mean, I left for a period. I was in Boston for like a year, and I went a couple other places. I went to school in New York for a minute, but I kind of did that short too. And yeah, I'm always drawn back here. And even though I loved media as a kid, and like you would think, oh, LA is the source of so much media, I still could never commit to being over there. I just loved being in Southern Maine.
I recently discovered that Harris Avenue in Providence is named after me.
Oh.
Do you have bloodlines from the zone where you live in?
Not really. They're the family is from Massachusetts, so that's the story of many a Southern Mainer, I suppose. But my grandparents, my mom was raised in Newton, and they would come up in the summers. And then my grandparents retired up here, and that's how we ended up in Maine. So we don't have deep bloodlines up here.
Is there new Dimples material getting put together?
Any day. There should be records. Oh, it's coming out on Feed and Tube. It's called Soul Chateau, Dimples Soul Chateau. And it's the record should be here any day. I approved the test pressing like a year ago. So I think they're on a boat right now. Like they should be coming ashore any day now.
From the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Which is where my maternal bloodline comes from.
Wow.
So, booyah.
Wow.
Sorry. I can't wait to hear that, man. So Feeding Tube Records is gonna press up and distribute your new Dimples record. That's great. What are your plans for you could say promoting, but what are your plans for kind of just like getting it out there for the homies to see?
Well, so Dimples did one tour once. Greg drove me back east from the West Coast, and I don't really think I don't think we'll ever do a long tour like that. So it's kind of up to me now. And I'm actually driving out to Los Angeles in just a few days, like Wednesday or Thursday. I don't have an actual plan. I was thinking of going the following Monday, but for family reasons, I'm thinking of leaving earlier, and I'm driving out. So I've never driven across the country without a plan alone before. So I'm on the precipice of a kind of big adventure. But then we're going to work on new Dimples material for about 3 weeks. And then I'm going to do a tour coming back, and I'll be performing some of our songs all across the country, from, you know, the Southwest up through back up to the Northeast.
Hopefully, we're gonna catch you at my new zone.
Yes, I would love to figure out something, and I'm hoping you're leaning right into it. You're going for it. So
Every hoop will be jumped through, and we're gonna have a new Harris Avenue. This time in Cranston.
wow.
So most of the Dimple stuff is remote, huh? What other projects have you got going on? Anything?
Well, we do it all together. Do you
Oh, I
mean
see.
remote? We record it all together. I mean, sometimes we do a little overdubs and flip them back and forth, but it's mostly together. We write it all together. We find it all together, I should say. We just goof off until we find it.
The times when you're together.
Yeah, when we're together. So it's been a few years. Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's an important distinction. You're always in the same room, and it's always a fun thing to do together.
Yeah, it's really sweet. I mean, Greg is one of my nearest and dearest friends, so getting to spend time with him, and we really you know, we got a good working relationship. I tend to like want to fall asleep a lot, and he's always willing to like lean the microphone down to the floor, you know?
To accommodate the
Yes,
vibe.
if that's where I'm sleeping. Yeah.
To accommodate the vibe.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, can I play another song here?
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
Okay. I'm going to try a different guitar here because I'm in my room, so, you know.
Folks, if you want to interact with Colby, I dropped the address in the chat on YouTube. You can just copy and paste that URL into a browser window, and you'll magically appear live on the program. You can ask him a question or tell him how much you love him. And with that said, you could also ask a question or interact with him via chat, or you can text me if you know my phone number. And with that being said, Colby, take it away.
All right. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting. I can't wear these when I do this. Here on the porch, I won't ignore the heat of the breeze, gently jostling me. Now with the sun, I have begun to know such things, so intimately, like love comes first. those who've been deceived or deprived. Life's off course when love should come first. Yes, love comes first. For lives redefined by love comes first. Without living so resigned to thinking love won't come first. Lighting candles in the night, chanting love comes first. Love come at all. Love come first. Love come at all. Love come first. Love come at all. For lives redefined by love comes first. Without living so resigned to thinking love won't come first. Lighting candles in the night, chanting love come first. Love come at all. Love come first. Love come at all. Love come first. Love come at all. Love come at all. Love come at all.
Nice.
Nice, all right.
Did you want to shout out the defund the police movement in Maine at all? Talk about your experiences with those folks.
Well, actually, there is something I want to talk about, and it's something Clay Camaro. Oh, I don't need this microphone. Reverb when I'm talking about this. Clay, as some people out there might know, has reappropriated this church in Grange Hall that is called Free Will, and it's Project Free Will. And we're trying to get involved in some abolition work here in Maine. So yes, I mean, I don't know what to say about defund the police. I would love for it to happen. That's what I believe should happen. But I do know that tomorrow morning for folks here in Maine at 10 a.m., there is some legislature. There's a public hearing for Bill LD 1897, an act to prevent the use of prone and supine restraints, chemical sprays, and electroshock devices on juveniles held in Department of Corrections facilities, which is more directly talking about right here in South Portland. We have Long Creek Youth Facility, which is for juvenile offenses, but it's has a history of abuse and has a really bloated budget. And I'm not really the authority on this, but this group called Maine Youth Justice, which I think is a really important group here, is working really hard to to get the closure of Long Creek. So tomorrow morning there's a public hearing, and I just want to make sure I get this right. So I'm going to read this, what they're calling for, because this is what I want to amplify, and anyone who can get out to this legislature. If you just go to Maine Youth Justice, they have a website, they have a Instagram, all that stuff. You can find links to how to get to this legislature, but they are not okay. Maine Youth Justice will be testifying neither in support nor against the bill because they're calling for much more. The demands that they have are for this closure of Long Creek Youth Development Center. They want the immediate halt of new detention to that development center. They want the Maine legislature to expand to include a plan that will work with youth and community members to release this plan to close Long Creek Youth Development Center by the direct. So they want to release a plan by the end of 2022 and repurpose the facility to serve as a community center and supportive housing instead of a place of trauma, harm, and punishment. They want a divestment from the Maine Department of Corrections of Juvenile Services and have that budget and create a youth justice community reinvestment fund. This plan should direct the Maine Department of Corrections to work with the Maine Department of Labor to initiate a just transition of workers into different employments. And they also want to create transitional plans for youth released from custody to ensure that they have a place to live, meet their basic needs, receive immediate and adequate medical care, and ensure immediate access to Maine care. And there's so much more. And I just encourage people to look into this, especially people in the Maine community, because, and that is what Clay and I have been talking about a lot with Project Free Will, how we can get involved in this abolition work and get this, especially this youth center, closed. Another plan that Clay was just talking to me about today, and she suggested that maybe I share it because who knows who's listening and who can help out there, who have ideas. But an associated group called Maine Inside Out does, I just want to highlight this group, Maine Inside Out, that they're a nonprofit organization founded in 2008 and based in Lewiston, Maine. And they, MIO facilitators and incarcerated youth, have collaborated to hold theater programs at Maine's Juvenile Correctional Facility, Long Creek Youth Development Center for the past 10 years. More than 250 incarcerated youth have volunteered to create and share powerful original theater inside the LCYDC and in communities across the state. So Maine Inside Out is also an amazing group that we're trying to get involved with and trying to help them hopefully get some grants and help them build a recording studio. And that's a big goal on the list. And we also have been talking about trying to do music programs in correctional facilities. And you can learn a lot more about our efforts, specifically Clay's efforts. I just want to highlight it, that it is something very important to me. And it's something that's like what I'm looking forward in the future, is trying to figure out how to lean into this. But you can check out our efforts at savefreewill.org. Sorry, I know that was a crazy mouthful pitch and I stumble a lot reading, but that's my main message for the night, is try to get people to look into these things.
Well said. Shout out freewill.org.
Save Free Will. Save Free Will.
Freewill.org.
Yeah. And then Maine
Youth
Inside
Justice
Out
and Maine Inside Out. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry to speak over you.
Oh, I was just saying, and then Maine Youth Justice and Maine Inside Out are the groups that I was trying to highlight tonight, who are really doing the work to try to close Long Creek.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for that.
All right. Yeah. Where are we at?
We are chilling on a Thursday night in the middle of winter. And why don't you go ahead and take a moment to think about anybody you want to give a shout out to. You can actually take the mic. I'm going to go get a cookie.
All right.
I'll be back in a moment. So the show is all you, Colby.
All right. Well, I thought it was beautiful hearing Jeremy and Bonnie speak, and when Bonnie had the moment to speak of her dad's birthday, and so I'll just take a moment to acknowledge my family, who mean a lot to me, and I'm surrounded by pictures of my little brother. Just turned 18, so in terms of big birthdays, that just happened 2 days ago, and it's pretty wild. It's the first time I saw him back in November, and first time in a couple of years, and he was taller than me. So, but I've been thinking a lot about my grandparents today, and I have some pictures of them, and I'm going to show them real quick. This is my grandfather right here, and me. And then I have a picture right here of my grandmother and me. Yeah. And if my mother or father have tuned into this or looked down the road, you know, love you both. Thank you both for everything. Yeah. A lot of love to all of you out there, because it's definitely a time of feeling separate. So I want to send a lot of love to everyone out there.
Looks like you got a shout out from Dylan Thadani. Happy birthday, little bro. They grow up so fast.
They
in
do.
the chats.
They do.
I want to shout out this cookie. It's a delicious cookie. Straight from Italy.
Wow. Here, I got a little song for you. Different one. I thought I'd sing this one tonight because I never performed it before. So it's something that got recorded last year, and it's just been sitting on the computer. So I thought I would bring it out for this occasion. Not that. Okay.
Take it away, Colby.
Bite your tongue. You really said far too much already. You didn't even learn your lines. You've done wrong. Sometimes you don't even feel the ground till you hit rock bottom, rock bottom. Rock bottom, rock bottom. Once you're fully underground, once you are buried, some will still say, not deep enough till you hit rock bottom, rock bottom. 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 Even when you go, think of you. Oh wait.
Wait, so is it your birthday?
No, I was saying, I was continuing or acknowledging Bonnie's birthday experience, or her father's birthday.
Oh, this was
just relating that my little brother just turned 18 2 days ago. So
when I was away.
when you're away,
Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay.
Is there, there might be huge gaps in the story, in your story, that I don't know. Is there anything that you wanted to touch upon that we neglected?
Oh, in my story.
Because I feel like you and I were really just at the very beginning of our getting to know you period, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. I guess I'm still figuring. Yeah, hopefully there'll be more to tell you sometime.
IRL.
Yeah.
Face to face.
Yeah. I don't know my story, so there's not there's something to tell sometime, but I don't have it right now.
Well, we are at the end of the segment, so it is appropriate for us to acknowledge that with a moment of silence. Colby, I'm going to cut you loose, man. I want to do and express gratitude for your coming on the show tonight. I had a lot of fun talking to you and definitely enjoyed the performances. They were all super sick and unique, and I loved them.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it's good to connect to the community.
Yeah.
Out there in some way. And I can't wait to see you next. And I do want to say I cherished our canoe trip this past summer. That was totally something new for me. I've only been in a canoe a couple times, and it was a wild ride. And
yeah,
it's a memory I'm gonna cherish. Yeah, that's part of my story now.
I have the scars. I have the scars, and they're definitely not going away.
Oh really? Oh no. Oh,
but
no.
yeah, likewise, definitely. I'll never forget that time. That was so hectic. Oh man,
it was fun though.
No, yeah, it was a ton of fun for sure. Relentless washing of fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about your wet boots the other day. Dang.
I still wear them. I still haven't. There's some things sometimes that just don't get addressed, and buying new boots right now is that thing in my life where it's just like going on and on and on. Should have happened quite a while ago. You ever buy a new article of clothing, for instance, and you just don't wear it for like 3 or 4 months?
Yeah.
And then you start to wear, and then it's like the only thing you wear for like
Yeah.
a year.
And then it like is always for me it like deteriorates or shrinks or something, or I
Yeah.
grow. I
Yeah,
keep growing out of my clothes.
yeah. Oh, real quick before I let you go, what is up with experimental Santa?
Oh yeah, I guess that's a gap in my story. I've been doing that for 10 years too, and I just did the 10th annual anniversary at the Aphodian Theater, which I guess I should shout out the Aphodian Theater. Come and visit us at the Aphodian. Reach out to me if you're out there.
True.
Um, but that's been a great home for me here in the Portland area, and the last few years, something that started actually when I was living in Boston. I would go out. I had a really my friend Aaron had given me this furry vest that I realized I could. Oh no, that was later. But I would wear this furry vest and all red, like red sweatpants, and I'd go out with a battery-powered karaoke machine, and I'd dance in the street and make loops with kids' toys and sing Christmas carols, and made a little bit of pocket money that way. That one year I was living down there, and then that just kind of snowballed, and people started asking me to host their shows and then do sets, and then when the Aphodian started letting me work on stuff there, I started turning it into a real stage show, which I kind of grew up doing a lot of theater. Um, so doing something that felt like a real stage show Christmas special. Um, I do it as kind of like a processing of the season, how stressful and all the negative things, and then all the beautiful things, and processing them into one like chaotic, hopefully funny evening. So I'm gonna keep doing it. I thought maybe this would be the last one, but honestly, it really does something for me, and I think it does something for some of the other people in that hard time of year, the season.
It can be really stressful. Yeah, shout out to Fodian. The homie Eric is going up there. His project Vosp is going to play there with Gunther at some point this week. I don't have the exact date, and I apologize for that inconsistency. But if you
Oh,
look
it's
it
the
up,
20th, the 20th Sunday.
Sunday, the 20th of February, go check out some experimental electronic music that I believe is mostly computer generated, although I could be wrong about that. And if you'd like to learn the truth, show up in person, dig the audio.
Yes, Apis Malfiore and the Asthmatic are the Portland locals on that show, and the Asthmatic, I never know what she's gonna do. So, it could be electronic, but there's probably gonna be some like a very aggressive vocals going on too. It's a full experience.
Damn, lucky you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. I don't know what else to say.
I'm going to cut you loose, bro. And I'll see you hopefully in April. Good luck and Godspeed on your trip out west.
Thank you.
Be safe. I can't, kind of envious. Cross country trip right now. It'd be pretty cool. So enjoy it, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good rest of your night.
Good night.
Folks, that's our show. We're finished. I'm going to just bid you farewell. I was going to tell a joke, but I'm not going to. So see you next week.